So thank you for your time. I've got three quick things here that I want to ask you about. I'm all over the place. First off, so what would you say to someone, in their 20s or in college, like you once were when you first had your idea? What would you say to someone who has an idea for something, doesn't know how to get started, is unsure of themselves? What would you say to that person so that they can get on the right track?
I would say the key, like write a list of the stuff you don't know. Like the way we built it at the beginning is like, we were like, okay, we want to get a can into a store by this date. And that date obviously moved. But then we would say, what don't I know about this specific area? So it could be production. Okay, what are all my questions in production? I'm going to write them all down in a sheet. And then I'm going to figure out who I know or who I know might know someone who could help me answer these questions. And then I would go to those meetings, literally sending that sheet in advance saying, here are my questions. Any of these questions you can answer, great. Any ones you can't, no worries. End the call with, are there two or three people that you could introduce me to who could help me get to these answers to questions, or based on our conversation, anyone you think could be helpful? And the first like 3 months of your process should just be a joyful search of how does this space work? Like, who do I know in it? What questions can I figure out? And it's basically you're just following a puzzle. And if you can take the pressure off yourself to say, you have this date in the end that you're trying to set as like there's a North Star, but take the pressure off to say this is drop dead, it has to be here, then it can be really fun and kind of like you're doing research for yourself in a space that's interesting.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing is like, make sure you know your why, because then you have your energy source when you're doing it. So the more you can try and figure out, like, it's not about the money. It's not about like making something that's huge. It's more, is this helping me like improve me or become who I want to be more rather than like the external outcomes? Then
Right.
you can keep persevering. So those two would be the keys: ask
I have
questions and persevere and know why.
I absolutely love that. The why is so crucially important, often overlooked in the beginning because it's, if you say, oh, what's your why? That kind of sounds like dumb and cliche and philosophical, but honestly, it's what's going to drive everything that you do because at some point, especially early on, if you say your why is just, profitability or I want to make X amount of money, it's a good goal to have. But when it's initially rocky at the beginning, like it's going to be, and you're not seeing as much profitability as maybe you would have liked, if that's your why, you're going to get discouraged rather than if your why is, oh, I want to make the world a better place, I want to become a better person, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm really glad that you said that.